welcome back to Young Old, the best podcast in the podcast marketplace, where Eve is still brushing her hair.
Because he was starting without me.
What do you guys think about brushing hair etiquette? Do you think it's like not cool to brush your hair in public, or do you think it's fine?
I like how you're trying to make this a society problem.
Yeah. I'm the kind of person that would be doing that, so that's why I'm like, I don't care.
What do you think of having pink hair and brushing it while recording a podcast?
Just from a societal
in general, just from like a general thing.
I mean, look, I'm the kind of person who would do it, so obviously I don't care.
Do you brush your hair in public?
No, because usually I would
just have ratty hair.
Yeah, but like if I had, like, I don't see an issue with it.
Well, when I was imprisoned by that witch at the top of the tall tower, I would pretty much sit on the windowsill and brush my hair every day because it was like the only thing to do.
And that's why you have short hair now.
And that's why when Data climbed Chubbs' hair.
Yeah.
And that's how they met.
Two sisters talk about dumb shit. We hope you like it. Cause if not, then we'll kill ourselves and the blood will be on your hands. Young Old!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate meet cute. I climbed your hair.
There was a mic up in the tower.
And that's how I got up there in the first place.
Yeah, it's because it was like the tall tower and it was like open mic tonight and then Chubbs got trapped.
There was a time in your life where someone could have kidnapped you by pretending there was an open mic somewhere.
Well,
it's like
for all I know, that's happened.
Box with a stick. And
open mic here. Robert climbs right in.
It's just a net on the floor of the woods and a rope connecting up to the tree, and it just says 3 minutes. Try your new material. And I'm like, oh,
I don't mind if I do.
And then I get sucked up into the net, and I'm like, so is it my turn? Do I go?
Is it a lottery?
10 sisters to the forest air.
Tell the story about singing your 12 sisters.
Well, early on when I was doing stand-up, I didn't know what was funny or not.
As you don't.
As
you
you
know
don't.
What? You at home, if you've never been to an open mic and you think you're funny, go to an open mic. And
you'll notice
put that
how
to the
not
test.
funny
and
you
you'll
are.
notice how not funny you are, and then you'll be forced to
And
get
if you're
funny.
watching this and you think I'm not funny, you should see me at an open mic.
Yeah,
I
he
reach
crushes.
levels of I was gonna say I reach levels of not funny you couldn't even fathom.
No, you at open mics now because you've done like literally
Well, I don't go to
thousands of
open
open
mics
mics.
now.
Yeah, but
I was trying to joke around.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I
Quit
don't know.
trying to build me up.
I'm just trying. You talk about how you're trying to stop on negative self-talk.
Okay, but can we talk about the famine?
Darfur?
Yeah.
Finally.
The one that you made
Can I
up?
be honest? I don't know where Darfur is.
I don't either.
It's between Illinois and Indiana. It's right in there.
Robert and I, speaking of Illinois and Indiana, Robert and I have been getting really into Quizlet quizzes. Are you guys familiar with these?
Wait, like the things people use?
Or no,
Yes.
Sporkle. Sorry, Sporkle.
Oh, because Quizlet is like
Quizlet
what
is
you
the
use to cheat on your
stuff
homework.
for school. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but we've been really into Sporkle, and we raced to see who can name all 50 states
We took a
fastest.
Sporkle quiz where
I
you
won.
have to name all 50 states, and Dana and I raced twice, and Dana won twice.
Wow.
Well, no, you technically won the first time because I gave up because I could only think of 47
I named
state
48
names.
and Dana named 47, and then we
Right.
gave up with me one ahead. The second and third time, Dana named all 50. Well, I was still in my mid-40s.
Yeah.
Is that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Hey, Gen Z, that's
Like,
what the
name 50
millennials
states.
are up
I'm
to.
like, Darfur.
Like, that's between Illinois and Indiana.
By the way, going back to the 10 Sisters thing, so one time I was just flailing to say something that was funny, so I was just doing the setup of a joke, and I was like, so I grew up with 10 sisters, untrue, complete fabrication, and then I just moved on to the punchline, and someone came up to me after, they're like, yeah, when you said you had 10 sisters, that's kind of all I wanted you to explain, because that's a crazy high number.
And Robert's like, little do you know.
I thought you said you had
am a
12
liar.
sisters.
No, I think it might have been 12. It was a big number. Well, it's like most stand-up comedians are like, so I went on a date recently, and me on stage trying to be funny, I'm like, so I went on 1,000 dates recently. Anyway.
But a big part of stand-up comedy is figuring out early on when the fake details that you're making up are too interesting for your punchline to do anything at all.
Yeah.
Like, then they're just distracted.
But
by 10
I was actually shocked. So
sisters.
I had been doing open mic comedy for like months before someone told me straight up, they're like, everything Robert says on stage is a lie, right? And I was shook. I was like, what? And then suddenly it all made sense.
Well, I'd be like, I'll have like dating jokes.
Yeah.
But I wasn't dating. I was
But he
going to the
wasn't dating. He was
Grove
going-
by myself.
Or to open mics.
Or
It was
open
either-
mics.
And you're like, wow, I got a lot not a competition.
Well, I'd be
Meanwhile,
I'd be on stage.
zero
I'd be at the open mic talking about all the dates I've been on recently. Meanwhile, everyone at the open mic has seen me do nothing but go to open mics.
Yeah, everyone's like, when are these dates?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what are the so-called dates?
And they weren't.
And they weren't.
And they
could see
weren't.
past his shitty shoes until data.
Dude, I was the
The
first
shitty
person to see
shoes,
past your
dude.
shitty shoes.
Dude, a good
And
pair
she
of
said,
shoes
"You know
will change
what?
your
I can
life.
cook
Yeah.
here. I can cook
I
here.
can cook here. No
He
one's
can be
cooked here.
cooked.
Yeah.
I was raw.
Yeah, Robert was a raw chicken when I met
Dana
him.
said, "You know what? I could cook here."
But famously, one of the first times I ever like remember Robert was he was talking about how he liked to walk around the Grove alone, and I thought to myself, that's what I do. And then I thought to myself, could we ever do that together? Just because I was like, oh, that's funny that he has the same activity as
now
me.
that's all you do.
And I thought to myself, no, what would we even talk about?
Wow.
And
Oh,
now
yeah,
here we
all the
are. And now
time.
here we are.
Well, you would talk about how streaming is fake.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but we didn't even know that each other thought
Well,
streaming
streaming
was.
was yeah, we didn't even know
Also,
that.
streaming was just on the
Oh, it
cusp.
just
Like
started,
streaming had just
yeah.
been, but we both thought it was fake early. Like we were early callers of streaming's fake.
I would just walk around the Grove all by myself, like
Muttering to
streaming's
yourself.
fake.
And I would walk around the Grove by myself muttering, streaming's fake.
And all of a sudden you bump into each other and you're like, streaming is fake.
Yeah, we're like, Jinx.
Streaming's Well, it's like, you know how in
Yeah.
Jumanji, the board calls to you, but you hear this distant
Yeah.
drumming that gets louder as you walk closer to it? It's that, but it's just streaming's fake, streaming's fake, streaming's fake, streaming's fake. But also, when we say streaming is fake, it's like, no, streaming was real. Like, because I always say this, like, because I wasn't allowed to watch TV famously. So all the early TV
Same.
shows I watched once I got like a computer were on like Hulu or like streaming or on like
Yeah.
HBO
Well,
Go.
that's when they were streaming real, like
They were still
network
streaming shows,
TV.
but I do
Yeah.
think the streaming original. I actually have I know the first fake streaming show that I ever clocked and was like, that's fake. Was Heather's on Paramount Plus. I was like, that's a fake streaming show.
One
I
of
didn't
the
even
ear-
know they made a Heather show.
Exact, but that's what
One
I'm
of the
saying.
early
That was a
fake streaming shows
show.
I clocked was Carnival Row
Yes.
on Amazon Prime.
Carnival Row.
Starring
I know.
Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne.
Oh,
Dude, did you
the way
guys...
I've never heard of
Yes,
that in my
but like
life.
that's how you know it's a
Did
fake
you guys
streaming
see
show.
the last?
Both
Did you guys
big,
see
but
the
yeah,
last
huge
episode of
names.
Carnival Row?
Oh my god, it was so crazy.
Dude,
the
Carnival
carnival
Row.
finally turned into a row.
Dude, when the carnival rode, I was like, what?
Well, because at the beginning, this carnival, it's not rowing.
No, it's not
Right,
rowing.
right.
And then you're like,
Yeah.
wait
Carnival
a
Row is
minute.
not
And
rowing.
then the end of season 5, like you see a paddle, a row paddle.
A row paddle.
Oh, that's the kind of row we're
and you're
talking
like,
about.
oh, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
making-
no, no.
You're probably, maybe you're right.
Yeah, no, you're probably
That's
right.
why I'm like,
yeah.
I know that if I feel like if I went to click on Carnival Row, a screen would have come up and it's just the CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, being like, all right, you got us. We didn't make it.
Well, Robert and I would always joke there's certain streaming titles that we know if you click on them, it's a black screen. and then like 2 minutes in, they're like, okay, stop, we're sorry. And
We're
then,
sorry.
And then maybe there's like a number you can call and you can get $1 million to never tell anyone that that's.
That would be crazy.
Wouldn't
And
that be
nobody's
amazing?
claimed the $1 million
And no one's claimed
so
$1 million so
far.
far.
It is just
And that's actually why I'm a millionaire. It was because I called the bluff
on Carnival Row and
Carnival
Heather's.
Row.
Yeah. And I collected my $1 million.
Well, apples never fall. We always think of
Yeah.
apples never fall.
Seems so fake. And again, if there's any Apples Never Fall fans out there,
Let us know if you're an Apple
let
head.
us know.
You know what? Don't let me know.
Let us know
I
if
don't want to
Apple
know.
ever fell.
Let us know if the apple
Well,
ever
in a
fell.
streaming show, it's just an apple tree, and in the very last frame of the very last episode, the apple starts to wobble. The craziest cliffhanger
Yeah.
in TV history, though, was apparently the show Alf, which, if you're not familiar, I assume you're not.
Alf?
Alf was about a alien. It was like a puppet alien that comes to live with his family. It's like a sitcom, and the whole runner of Alf is the government's always trying to get a hold of Alf for their experiments, and through hijinks, Alf escapes. But long story short, they thought Alf was going to get renewed for another season. So they ended on a cliffhanger where Alf is captured by the evil government scientists for experiments, except for they didn't get renewed for another season.
So Alf just stays there forever.
So canonically, the show ends with this lovable alien you've come to cherish and enjoy being captured and tortured
That's
forever.
so sad.
Wait, is that why? Is Alf? Does
need
that
to
stand for
reboot
Animal
it.
Liberation Front? That
I
was.
don't know. I
Dana
don't think
trying
so.
to make
I think it's an
conspiracy
alien. I don't think it's an animal.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't think it was like animal rights vibes.
Got it,
It was like
okay,
a
got it,
puppet
got it.
living with a family.
Okay.
they should do a reboot.
Who played
since
Alf?
They're rebooting everything.
Who played Alf? I played Alf. It was my big break.
Yeah.
promoting his own show.
Dude, you guys, and we got to get Alf back.
Is who's streaming? Who has the license on Alf?
This was like an 80s sitcom. This was not like
Then it's a perfect time to reboot it.
bring it back.
Or just air the original Alf. People probably like it.
Well, they probably like it more.
But
They're
have a
they
Suits
need
moment.
a sequel. They need him to
Right.
get out of the lab.
That's true.
That's always so crazy that like the reboots almost never work. Everyone acts like the reboots are guaranteed to work. They almost never
They
work.
never work.
Because
And
like
they still keep doing
Suits
it.
LA, they did like they canceled it because people just wanted to watch old
everything
Suits.
About also, I didn't even watch Suits LA, but just from the look of the billboards, I could tell that it was everything Suits
Wasn't.
Wasn't.
it
Yeah.
not.
But I also think that's because we have a generation of people making TV who have active disdain for old TV.
Well, old TV used to look again. You have to capture the look is
The
part
look
of it.
is so
It's not just
important.
bringing back the actors who
literally,
have all had their blephs done and
color
look
is
insane
just,
now.
Like so much of it. Color
Yeah.
is so much of it. Everything now is freaking gray.
Desaturated.
Desaturated.
Like,
Crank the
sound
warmth up.
mixing is
Gray,
really
bro.
weird, guys. The sound mixing is weird in your new programs.
What's with the gray?
What's
Why
with
is
the
it
gray?
gray? Why is there no background noise?
Well, when people make TV shows now, sometimes I'm like, do you guys think modern day is in black and white?
Yeah, I'm just
Why
like,
do they think modern day
we're
is?
going back to black and white TV.
I think they
We're
wanna-
slowly
like,
moving
we
our way back
are,
to like
like,
I Love
everything-
Lucy time.
Everything has no color in it.
But
Yeah.
I think it's like they almost want to convince us that our lives are bleak. Like they're trying to reflect back to us that like our
Okay.
own lives are sad and bleak. No, that's true. Why do you roll your eyes when I say that? What?
Well, it's just that I work for them, and that is what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to gaslight you into thinking that's not true.
And yeah, I know that when we were making
Oh,
Alf,
please.
when we were making Alf, it wasn't about making people think lives were bleak. It was about making people think that people were happy, and if an alien was there, it'd be me, and that'd be good. Dana's so
But see, if
pissed
you
that
were
you
the-
that you were not cool.
Well, because it's like what? Why that? Like why shut down that specifically?
I told you it's because I work for them, and I don't want people knowing.
All
that.
right. Do you guys
If
have
were
any-
the alien though? I'd be like, yeah, experiment on him. Yeah.
Well, you would think it was so funny. I'd get captured. Eve would like visit like the pod where they're keeping me, and I've got like tubes connecting me. I'm gaunt. I'm like bleeding out of my mouth. I'm like, Eve, please kill me or help me, please. And you're just like, bruh, they got chubs.
I got him, bro.
what kind
They
of
got
experiments
him,
do you
bro.
think they'd be running on
got
you?
his ass.
Oh, what kind of experiments would they be running? They'd probably be like, what liquids would you want coming out of your fingers? And then I'd like, that's funny. Okay.
But why would they shock you? Why would they ask you and then shock you?
'Cause it's
I just don't
fake and
understand
made
from the
up.
scientific method of
It's
how
made
that
up.
Scientific method.
I don't think
How would
the
that be
evil
helpful?
scientists capturing Alf are following the scientific method. They're evil.
But they're probably following the scientific method on the experiments they're conducting on
You're
Alf.
watching E.T. and when the scientists are like, probing E.T., you're like, well, they're following the scientific method.
I don't know if I've ever seen E.T. full out.
I've never seen E.T.
I
either.
had never really. I think I saw it
You went
once
to
as a
go see it in
kid.
the
I saw it in the
theaters.
theaters and they did re-release, and it's really good.
Oh.
It is sometimes just crazy to watch like an old thing that everyone says is good because a lot of times it's not. Sorry, but E.T. was great.
What's an example of an old thing that people say is good that you don't like? Dun, 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 dun.
Jesus Christ!
No one.
God!
People don't say that that's good.
There are, I'm
At
sure
least
there's
publicly.
people.
Oh yeah.
God!
Okay, we don't have to put that in.
I mean, we'll probably put it out. It's pretty funny.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna edit it out.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be edgy.
Dude, it's so hard to like. It's so hard to like. You're just like trying to be edgy, and then you go a little too far, and it's like what
So real.
You go a little too far. That's you just saying the word slavery totally out of
What if they were like
context.
something old that people liked that is bad? Come on!
Also-
I was thinking more movies and TV.
Well, okay,
vibes.
obviously.
Why are we on a different wavelength today? Like, why
I don't
are
know.
we?
Get on my wavelength.
I'm trying. Where is your wavelength?
Also, you're gonna hate this, but you're kind of like on me. Could you?
Bro, not foot on leg gate again.
Not foot on leg.
Okay, do you guys have any? I want to do more.
I was trying to think of old boring movies. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like sometimes you watch like an old black and white movie and you're like, okay, it's a little boring. That
Yeah.
Give me one example because every time I watch an old movie, I am amazed at how good it is.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna.
What?
Yeah, sometimes
That's
that's the
true.
case. Sometimes that's the case. But also, you don't watch old boring movies.
I do. Well,
constantly
I'm
watching
saying
old
the
How about
old
this?
movies I think we watched Singing in the Rain. It was really good.
Yeah, but we tried to watch White Christmas.
Yeah, White Christmas was insane.
Which, by the way, I watched as a kid and I did like it as a kid because it's just bright colors or whatever.
With
And
Bing
White
Crosby.
Christmas is a lot. You watch it
Yeah.
now, it's a lot. Also, low key, he also did another holiday movie called Holiday Inn, where it's like a Christmas kind of musical. There's just like he just like does blackface in it, and so that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah. Well, that's also why it's like maybe it was good. Some of those movies were in black and white because they be doing blackface, and so
And yeah,
it's like we can't tell as much when
Well,
it's
I feel like
black
you
and
can
white.
still
Question
tell.
you
mark.
could tell.
I think you could still
You could
tell.
tell.
I don't watch a lot of movies like that.
Yeah. Well,
I was
but
thinking
that's
more
also
like
why
I was thinking more like how like Gone with the Wind holds up better than you could ever imagine,
No,
or
there's
like
gorgeous
Some Like
things
It
that-
Hot, or like any Marilyn Monroe movie is epic. Like I watched Gentlemen Prefer Blondes on the treadmill.
Yes.
Like it was good as frick.
I like old movies. I'm just saying that some of them can be boring and don't hold up.
Yeah.
You're like, I watched Bing Crosby doing blackface on the treadmill, and I moved so fast.
No, she said she doesn't watch ones like that.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah.
But I will say, I always say this: a good test of whether a movie or TV show is genuinely entertaining is if you're doing intense cardio workout. How long before you check the time on your workout that you're watching something?
Well, that's what they say. The real test of like interest when you're even not doing cardio is
Yeah.
what's the point where you look at your phone?
Yeah, when do you look at your
like
phone?
Like don't think about it. Don't
Yeah.
try to like consciously not do it or do it. Just like when is the point do you find yourself organically looking down at your phone?
And I'll be real with these streaming shows, it's like literally like 0.1 seconds. And with like a any network TV show from 2005, I get 20 minutes.
Well, we watched One Tree Hill. I'd seen the pilot as an adult. I never watched it. I never watched the show. I only saw the pilot and I was like, oh, whatever, it's kind of fun. And we just randomly watched the second episode. And it's not even like I loved it. It's just that, like,
watchable.
before I knew it, the episode was done.
It used to be like TV was an actively passive activity.
And this, by the way, is what Dana and I would be saying by ourselves as we walk through the grove
to
by
ourselves. And now we can say it to each other. Now we have a sounding board.
Yeah.
But Robert and I did disagree on something recently, which is that I think that the Bruce Springsteen biopic is a good idea and Robert thinks it's a bad idea.
I can't say I'd be tuned in, but
Eve's not too. Also, okay, this is what I said. Here's what I said about the Bruce Springsteen biopic, where I'm like, I love Bruce Springsteen's music, but I'm like, I feel like Bruce Springsteen doesn't have a tumultuous enough personal life to make a biopic interesting.
And to me, I said he's a rags to riches American dream story who defined an era of what it
You're
means
not
to be an
seeing it.
American.
the thing is like I'm not gonna watch any biopic.
And that's valid.
So-
That's completely valid.
I
think
watched
doesn't
Walk the
matter
Line
who
when
it
I was a
is.
kid. They don't
Mm-hmm.
call to me. Like people say the Chalamet one was good, the Bob Dylan one, but I'm like, they don't call to me. But
Yeah.
even then I'm like, okay, my point about Bruce Springsteen was like, all right, Bob Dylan, though, he knew all these other famous people, and it was the civil rights movement, and it was like a cultural revolution. It was the 60s, and there were all these things happening. Bruce Springsteen just seems like a guy who wrote some songs. People really liked him. He got rich because people liked him a lot.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem
but
like
to
there's
me,
like a story.
The biopic would be what the story is. We don't know because there hasn't been a biopic. We don't know what his story
But this is what irks me is like Dana literally is only arguing for it because I was arguing against it. In a vacuum, you would not be interested in seeing the Bruce Springsteen biopic.
in a vacuum. But I think when you say that there's no reason for it to be made, that's incorrect. Or like you think that there's no story. I'm like, let's see what
All
they
right,
present
let's
as the
do
story.
the Tate McRae biopic then. If it's just you didn't have money from music and then you got money from music.
Also, I lied because I actually did like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Dude, that's the one that the people like. That made like almost $1 billion.
It was
I
good.
liked
I
it.
saw it. It was good.
And
I
I
didn't
didn't
see
even
it.
know anything about Queen or Freddie Mercury or anything.
But
then I
they're
liked
really
it.
interesting. That's what I mean. Freddie
yeah.
Mercury had a very tumultuous personal life
Yeah.
that synced up with the music. That's
Yeah.
a worthy biopic.
Yeah.
I think the Tate McRae biopic could be interesting because we could get some dance moms in there.
That's
Yeah.
well,
That's-
yeah.
I would genuinely rather say, to me, I'm like, to make a biopic interesting, you have to go out of left field. Make one on like Tate McRae. Make one on Addison Rae, just the music part.
Yeah, only
None
music
of the
part.
influencer stuff, none of the movies.
Or like JoJo.
Siwa.
Dude, JoJo Siwa would have a good biopic. It seems like her life.
Well, she's had an interesting life.
Yeah,
Remember when I
objectively.
saw? Actually, I've seen her twice in the flesh.
Third time something magical will happen.
I guess the
They
first
say
time,
third time's a charm.
The first time was at Universal. It was when we went with our mom and we got the VIP passes.
And she was
And
also
she
a
was
VIP.
in the lounge.
Mhm.
And it's like obviously she's gonna be VIP. at
And we were struck by
Universal.
how tall she was
Yeah,
and also
and how
how
clear
smooth her
her
skin
skin
is.
was.
She has like the milkiest complexion. Not to be creepy.
That's the creepiest thing
I
to
know,
say.
bro, it was gross.
But
What's
she
going
was like she
on?
walked right past us and like literally was so close.
Yeah.
And she was really tall.
She
I mean,
was
she
super
should
tall.
forget music. You should be hooping.
So true. Get hooping,
Get
JoJo.
hooping, JoJo.
Get hooping, JoJo.
And then the second time was outside of my dance class, and like I walk out, and the parking lot's very small, and a Cybertruck is taking up the entire parking lot when I walk out. And who is in the Cybertruck but JoJo herself?
It's JoJo in the
And
Cybertruck.
Obviously, I was a weird. To be fair, like it's not like she was being mobbed. Like I was the only person who was doing this. But I'm like standing outside her window, like I'm like knocking on the window. I'm like,
And Eve did get a selfie.
and she rolls her window down, and I'm like, "Hi, JoJo. I love you. Can I have a photo?"
Dude, this is just like.
And she's clearly like looking at her phone, like trying to, like, when before I knocked, she was obviously looking at her phone, trying to ignore me. And then I was like,
Robert's like so off put by your behavior.
Well, it just because now I'm like, this is a pattern now where it's like, keep in mind, the Eve in this JoJo Siwa story is actually the same Eve who walked into the wrong bathroom at Solid Core, saw a naked man, and then continued to get dressed in that locker room.
no, it was in the bathroom.
But it wasn't at all like a locker, it was like, but didn't you, after you saw the naked man, did you immediately go,
No.
oh, something's wrong and leave? Or did you
I
stay?
thought something's wrong, but I just walked into the bathroom and
The
changed.
point is
And anyway,
that
that's
this
the
is
same
another
Eve
example of
who
Eve
sees
acting.
a parked Cybertruck and
Yeah.
goes,
Well, first I'm standing outside the window, and she's looking at her phone, trying to ignore me, obviously. And then I knock on the window like a psychopath.
can I ask, if you saw she was trying to ignore you, why wouldn't you then go?
And there are so few celebs out here that I would do that to. Okay, I have seen Victoria Pedretti. I've seen Tessa Thompson
That's cool. Where'd you see Tessa Thompson?
At the dog park.
at the dog park.
Yeah.
And I did not ask either of them.
Well, dog
for
park
a
to me is
photo,
that's
okay?
you can't, because to me dog park it's like you're not allowed to even comment on the human owners because it's not for the humans, you know. Like to me it's like that's a safe
Like
zone.
the only person
like,
you
can
could
I get
approach
a
at the
pic
dog
with your
park
dog?
is Boo.
you could get a pic,
Yeah.
you could
Oh,
have
boo!
Yeah.
you could have Biter get a pic
What
with
if they're
Tessa Thompson's
what if they're
dog.
Like, they're like, Boo's trying to play right now, okay?
Boo's
This
with
is
its
Boo's-
family right
Boo,
now.
You can come to the meet and greet. This is Boo's playtime.
This is Boo's playtime.
Okay, but I didn't
Rest
ask
in peace,
either of
Boo.
those people for photos. Okay, and also, well, I didn't ask her at Universal because, like, I don't know, things were happening. But like, our tour guide was like talking to us and stuff. I don't know,
Right.
something like that. But here she was all alone with no one to save her. And so she rolls her window down, and I'm like, I don't know, get out. Okay, I didn't say it like that.
You probably
I
did.
did not say
I
it
bet
like
you
that.
did.
I was like, hello, Josephine. Hello, Madam Siwa.
Hello, Madam Siwa.
I would be so pleased if you were to honor me with your presence in a photograph. That's what I said.
Here's a formal invitation to take a
Yeah.
selfie with me right now.
But she was nice. She was like, oh, for sure. Like, of course.
Dude, it sucks that she tried to ignore
Yeah.
you. She
Yeah.
tried so hard to ignore you,
And then she's like, of course.
Well, that's also why I give celebrities so much grace whenever like anyone hops on TikTok and they're like, this celebrity was really rude to me. Because I'm like, dude, if you're a celeb, the fact that you have to kind of be on all the time.
Okay, can I say something? Actually, this goes off of. So, someone posted a TikTok the other day that was like, anyone had a weird experience with celebrities, sound off in the comments or whatever. And clearly, most of these people are lying, first of all. Like, they're all like, I went to high school with Ariana Grande and she said I had cankles. It's like, that's not real.
Also, that's funny.
But what I think is so interesting is there were so many comments with people being like, I knew Angus Clout, who is dead. And like, I realized that there's a huge trend of people saying that they like knew
someone
dead
dead.
celebrities because like you can't prove it. And I'm like, isn't that such a weird phenomenon? That like Angus Clout is so
Yes, like,
everyone's-
why do you want dead clout?
yeah, why are
Like-
you trying to get dead Clout? And I'm like, most of you, like, there's no way that like 15 people who knew Angus Clout are commenting about Angus Clout right now.
Dude.
Like,
Okay.
and may he rest in peace. But I'm like, it's just so odd that like clearly you're lying, and clearly you're lying about Angus Clout because you know we can't prove if you knew him or not because he's dead.
Dude, okay. Alex Warren keeps trying to promote his new song by saying,
Avicii.
trying to make Avicii proud with this one. Avicii is a dead gentleman who Alex Warren never met.
I love dead gentlemen.
It just, well, I didn't know. A dead guy
Mr.
felt too
Avicii,
crude.
yeah, Monsieur Avicii, may he rest in peace.
He doesn't know who you are, and he doesn't care.
He doesn't know you.
And, like,
also, promote your song.
just think,
Don't promote. Don't like
On-
use
on
a dead
Avicii's
person to
back.
promote your
Yeah.
song.
Dead Clout is weird.
dead clout is crazy,
Dead
bro.
Clout's strange.
That being said, I do always say things like Shakespeare would have hated me because he would have been so jealous.
Well,
Rest in
Yeah.
peace, Shakespeare.
But you're not being like trying to make Shakespeare proud today. Like,
No.
I feel like it's weird. It's okay to
yeah.
say they would hate you.
Also, you'd be.
That's fine.
I'm like,
You'd be
Abraham
joking.
Lincoln would have spit in my face.
yeah, I feel like that's fine. But saying like, oh, this is for Avicii. Avicii would have loved this. It's like,
Right.
don't say what Avicii would have.
You don't know what
Yeah.
Avicii would have
You can say
done.
what Shakespeare would have hated.
Yeah.
But you can't say what Avicii would have loved.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like, again, it's weird to try to clout leech off of the dead.
Like, what if every time
The
I posted
recently deceased.
What if every time I
Yeah.
posted a joke online, I was like trying to make Matthew Perry proud with this one?
Yeah,
It's like-
Matthew
What?
Perry, rip Matthew Perry, you would have loved my stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
rude
so weird.
and weird.
Dude, also underneath every single Alex Warren video, there's a bunch of comments saying, we made the right person famous. Meanwhile, no one has done more to make himself famous than Mr. Alex Warren.
Oh, you're really coming for
Well,
him
I know
right
because
now.
before we
we would bleep
were-
out.
well,
it's
Well, no,
me.
quiet.
to me, I thought I could name
Before
him
we
this
were
time because we
quiet.
bleeped him last episode. So I thought this time I'll name him.
This is actually a
specific
good
thing.
segue for my.
I would have sprayed Alex Warren with piss gun.
truth comes
comes out. Truth bomb.
And look, if you ever saw the Hype House Netflix reality show, it really shows a lot of his true colors in that one.
That
But
being said,
I'm not even trying to come out as like an Alex
No.
Warren hater here. I like really like Alex Warren and his music.
Shut up, bro.
I just have some notes about his promotional strategies. And yeah, if I had a finger that shot out piss, I'd shoot him with my anonymous piss finger.
Someone said last app that piss gun was the best thing to happen in the pod. And I
Yeah.
was like, hell yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, here's the deal. There is no other pod is talking about
no
piss
other
gun.
pod
Yeah.
has covered piss gun.
No.
And no other pod is letting you know whether or not piss gun is illegal and what the
We're
ramifications
asking the real
potentially would be.
question.
We are. We're
and
doing.
we're letting you know you get one.
And I wouldn't call it journalism because we didn't do any real research, but
Yeah.
we did. I would say a thorough
Hypothetical
thought
re-
exploration.
yeah.
We do thorough
We
thought
did thorough thought
explorations.
explorations
Thorough
on
thought
this
explanation.
podcast. We don't do any
Exploration.
research, but we think things to
But
their
we be
logical
thinking.
conclusion.
We be
I do think we do
thinking.
that. We do that. We think
We
things
think
out to
things
their
logical
logical conclusions.
conclusion.
thinking.
Okay, which brings me to
How many piss gun
I keep
shootings could I do?
saying, which brings me to, and everyone keeps interrupting.
go.
All right, go.
I want to do propaganda I'm not falling for, the TikTok trend, and I want us to say propaganda we're not falling for because then we can format it for a clip. Propaganda we're not falling for.
You go first.
Have you completed speaking? May I speak? May Eve and I contribute?
Which brings me to I tried to say my thing.
Well, okay, propaganda I'm not falling for, not talking over other people.
I
That's
was gonna say,
propaganda I'm not falling
propaganda
for.
not falling for like Dana being talked over or something, but I didn't know. I didn't know how to phrase it.
Also, okay, because we all get talked over. The difference is when
we
Eve
don't,
and
like, throw a fit.
when Eve and I get talked over, we just kind of
We
talk
keep
a
it
little bit and
pushing, bro.
quiet
We keep it
down.
pushing.
Yeah, but right then Eve kind of talked over me. Imagine if when Eve started doing that, I went.
Smallville stared into the distance.
Smallville style. Also, someone did comment on a previous episode of Young Old. Where they were like, Dana does get cut off too much. And I'm like, oh, you're giving her what she
Cry me a
wants.
river, bro.
I will.
She will. Also, Dana does whatever the opposite
Don't
of aura
threaten me with a
farming
good
is.
time.
Right there, you spoke over me.
Also,
What
you
do
know,
I get?
That
What prize do I
that
get?
commenter doesn't notice that me and Robert get talked over because again we're not doing Smallville stare off into the distance.
We keep it pushing.
They see you Smallville stare off into the distance. And they go, "Oh, that's so sad. She's getting talked over."
All right, you're right. Fine.
I
Well,
was saying Dana does whatever the opposite of aura farming is, where she like tries to farm like uniquely tragic, pathetic moments for herself that can be clipped to gain sympathy.
That's deep.
But yeah, my whole life, all I've wanted is a little sympathy. No one ever wants to come to my pity parties. I've never gotten one RSVP. Literally, it's always been so crazy to me because like it's like
RSVP.
there's always people who like we're all down to be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Whenever it's my turn, no one's sorry for me. That's all.
What?
Oh no, we're sorry.
Yeah, we're so
right.
sorry.
Oh, we're
You know
so
what?
sorry.
That didn't make a lot of sense.
I just like, why would you want like? Never have I been like, I want people to feel sorry for me.
No, I would love. No one ever has like brief moments of empathy for me.
No one ever has brief
that,
moments
bruh.
of empathy for you.
All right, you're right. Maybe I'm wrong, and it's wrong to say all of this. Can we go back to
Propaganda
my
I'm not
propaganda I'm not
falling
falling for?
Dana needing RSVPs to her pity party.
No, I agree. Propaganda I'm not falling for is a perfectly
No, it's
good.
It's a good topic.
I'm
It's just
trying
that it was overshadowed by your nonsense.
Yeah. This is also why it's good to sometimes lay off the nonsense, because now I'm just thinking about your pity party.
Oh, I need to RSVP to that.
Yeah.
Do I get a +1?
I'm canceling it. I'm canceling the party.
Well, that's also,
Oh.
you always cancel your pity parties.
Yeah, so it's like,
You're like, no one ever wants to come to my pity parties. And I'm
It's
like,
like 'cause
I'm
you always
coming. And you're like,
cancel.
it's canceled. You're like the girl who's like, no one does anything for my birthday. And then we're all like, what do you want to do for your birthday? And you're like, nothing. Leave me alone.
I'm not like that.
You're not at all. That is like that. Okay. All right. Maybe that's the take. How do I formulate that into a propaganda I'm not falling for?
People who feel sorry for themselves on their birthdays.
Propaganda I'm not
that's
falling.
not like propaganda.
Yeah, but that's kind of the.
I saw one that was like a lady who was a nut doing the propaganda thing.
Yeah.
It was like propaganda I'm not falling for tap water.
Yeah.
Or like I
Moon
can't-
landing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, all right, here's the thing. Propaganda I'm not falling for. Every single person who disagrees with you is automatically a narcissist. I'm not falling for that. I was
Amen.
saying this today. My rule is when I'm talking to someone and they're complaining about anyone in their life being a narcissist, I'm like, okay, your mom can be a narcissist, your dad can be a narcissist, your ex can be a narcissist, your boss can be a narcissist, and a former teacher from school can be a narcissist, but you gotta pick one. You got to pick one of those and they get to be the narcissist in your life. Because if all of them are narcissist, you are the narcissist.
You're the narcissist. You're the common denominator.
And by the way, that is the dance move for you're the narcissist. It's narcissist, mom narcissist, dad narcissist, boss narcissist, ex narcissist, teacher narcissist. You are the narcissist.
You are the narcissist.
And we talked about this before, but like whatever happened to just like calling somebody an asshole?
Yeah.
Like maybe somebody just is, you just don't like them. Maybe they're rude. Maybe they, you know what I mean? Like not everybody has to be diagnosed.
Yeah. Why do you have to diagnose everyone you
Like
hate?
you could just be like, oh, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
I hate them.
What happened to hating someone?
What happened to I
in
hate
like a
them?
normal way?
Well,
Like-
a lot of times
Well,
too.
it's because you have to be vindicated somehow. Like
Well,
there has to be
yes.
like, oh, like it's not that I have hate in my heart. It's that they are a pathological narcissist.
right.
Well,
there has to be
also-
some sort of like righteous.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
right. Like you can
Also, it's
never
like you're
admit that-
elevating yourself. It's like
Right.
you're
Versus like if you say, "Oh, I hate somebody," it sounds like a you problem.
right. Yeah, but it is a you problem.
Well,
but
that's-
you,
but
yeah,
that's
you've
okay.
shifted it
That's
to
okay.
yeah.
Whatever
Whatever happened
like
to
people.
just hating people, but then the flip side of that is also because it's the same people with the same problem. Whatever happened to just going, people don't like me?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to going like, oh, this person doesn't like me? Keep it pushing. It has to be
Yeah.
like, this person doesn't like me because they are a narcissist.
Right.
It's
There's
like,
be
no.
something like medically wrong with them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
right.
like, well, not always. Maybe
Also,
you
like,
just don't get along.
Sometimes people just don't get along. I think
Yeah.
like that's the lost art of understanding that some of us just don't get along with each other.
And not all of us are meant to get along with each
No.
other. That I think is also real.
Also, again, life is short. You don't have room for like that many people in your life. That's also true. Where I'm like, okay, if you don't like someone and they don't like you, cut it off, keep it pushing.
Well, it's also like, okay, oh my God, I really hate this person and they're a narcissist and I just hope they go to therapy and get the help they need. It's like, okay, so you're saying that if they went to therapy and they got all the help they need, you're saying you'd want to hang out with them. For real. I doubt it because you don't like them and they don't like you.
Also, again, sometimes it's just a difference in personalities. It's not that someone has a personality disorder. It's that you two are not compatible as friends or people.
Also, by okay, whenever someone is also like, oh, this person, I hate this person, they need to go to therapy. It's like what they mean is they need to go to a therapist of your choosing who will repeat your talking points.
Yeah.
Because what if they go to therapy and their therapist is like, yeah, that person is crazy. You're correct. What then?
Well, Robert always talks about how there's a kind of person who they want everyone in their life to go to therapy to become the version of themselves that best works for that person.
Yes.
Like, you don't want me to go to therapy because you think it'll benefit me. You want me to go to therapy because the version of myself that I am right now isn't working for you and the way you'd like to use me.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
But also, it's like you can't, whatever happened to, you can't change others, only yourself.
Yes.
Like you can't change how they're
I'm
acting. You can only
starting
change
with the
your
man in the mirror.
propaganda. I'm not falling.
Propaganda I'm not falling for. Dana breaking into song. Propaganda I am not falling for.
Dude, you know what's so funny is like when comedy people break into song and they're actually really good at singing. That I'm the opposite of that. Where it's like every time I break into singing, you're like, how is she so bad?
Dude,
But it's like, wait, is it just me or is she really good at singing? And with me, it's like, is it just me or is she
sometimes
like really
a song
bad?
will
at
come on the
singing?
radio. Dana and I will be driving, and a song will come on the radio, and I'll recognize it. I'm like, hey, this is a good song. This is a really good song. I'm excited to listen to it. And as soon as the vocals come in, Dana hits you with a, And I'm like, oh God. Oh, I was gonna excited to listen to the song, not this version of the song.
Well, you gotta hit her with, "Hey, who sings this?" And she's like, "Kelly Clarkson." And you go, "Let's keep it."
I have hit her with that
way."
earnestly. She doesn't like it.
Well, to me, that is the meanest thing you can say to someone.
You think that's the meanest thing you can
I
say?
think it's
Well,
very
our mom
rude.
always said never make fun of someone for singing or
Yeah,
dancing.
it's the meanest
Meanwhile,
thing you can
my
say.
mom would make fun of me for singing.
Oh,
Well, your mom.
maybe she came up with that rule after she was like getting down. I gotta stop this.
Well, your mom would make fun of you by just giving you honest critique, and then you'd be like, "Stop making fun of me," and she'd be like, I was just saying, you're not very good."
Oh, wait, she said that? When?
No, I was talking about how
yeah.
like how your mom would.
Right.
She wouldn't say
She
that.
would, yeah. No, there was definitely like some honest feedback that ultimately, as an adult, I have found helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, saying the who sings this, let's keep it that way, is the meanest thing you can say. Like one time
Yeah.
I was driving the car with a buddy of mine, and I started to sing, and he turned to me and he says, "You're a fat fucking loser. I hope you fucking die."
I knew this
and I was
story was
like,
fake.
With
it
buddy
started
of
with a
mine.
buddy of
Yeah.
mine.
And I was-
Yeah.
I
You
was like,
lost
there's
me at
something
buddy of
and I was
mine.
like, at least he didn't do the who sings this routine. By the way, this is what I mean when all my jokes were lies. This was the joke. I'd be like, hey,
Yeah.
a buddy of mine said this. It's a thought I had on my own.
Or like again, one time Robert had a really viral tweet that was like, my friend said blank, and the friend in question was our mom.
Was their mom. It was something your mom said that was funny, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I can't, because like I can't start a tweet with
like, my girlfriend's
so my
mom.
girlfriend's mom said, because then
Right.
again, it's like, so it's like, yeah, you know, my buddy said this.
I
You know, I was
she
fishing
is-
with my buddy.
She is
and-
in theory your buddy. But
No,
it's
your mom
like-
is my buddy. I
I
like
think
your mom. I
that's
like
one
your
of
mom.
Robert's closest friends is our mom.
Your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, propaganda I'm not falling for is Addison Rae's rebrand. I'm bravely
Yeah,
stating this.
that's
I
tea.
think her rebrand is bad. I really like Addison Rae. I think some of her music's really good. I am a big fan of her rise to fame, and I hope she continues to succeed and flourish. But I think her rebrand is bullshars, and I think that she has secret haters on her team. And Addison, if you're watching this, I think you have secret haters on your team.
Well, everyone talking
That's
about
you.
Addison Rae's rebrand is like finally edgy. It's Brat Summer reborn. It's like Charlie XCX with an American Girl, Lana Del Rey spin on it. It's exactly what it's Americana gone dark and twisted. But then every actual like video or picture of Addison Rae post rebrand, it just looks like someone gave an American Girl doll a cigarette. That's just what it is.
and I think it is American Girl doll with a cigarette. And again, if
I kind of
that's-
like Diet Pepsi though. It's growing
No,
on me.
yeah. No, I think I actually think the songs are better than the rebrand, which is like why I'm even mentioning it. I'm like, I think the music is good. I would question some of the aesthetics.
Well, it's like
around it.
Rolling Stone is like Addison Rae is in her new It Girl era, and then it's just a picture of her wearing like a toddler's Halloween costume and just like smearing mud on her face.
Right. Also, propaganda I'm not falling for
Well,
the return of cigarettes.
Sure.
What?
Eve, what do you think about Addison Rae's rebrand?
I was like, oh, I don't know about all that, but then I was like, you know what? I appreciate that she's like doing something and like people are commenting.
Me
on
too.
it.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that
that's
it's something
I
that's
think
creating
like,
discourse.
better than being boring.
100%. I mean, I agree completely. I'm just saying, like,
people
this
are,
is the discourse. This
people
is
do be hating on her outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like at least she's giving people something to talk about.
yeah,
you know?
and I support that.
And
I
I will
love.
say,
It's polarizing.
I
It
love
is.
the creation of
because
controversy.
a lot of people
Yes.
are like, oh my god, I love this, and a lot of people are like, oh my god, I hate.
Well,
that.
I would
our
argue
critique
though it's
comes
not
from
actually as polarizing as
As
we
you
think.
think.
And I would
Okay.
argue that ultimately
All right.
what it's resulted in is her losing a lot of her popular audience.
Right. People just being like, oh, this is weird. I'm out.
I would also like to assert that the second that a mainstream media outlet calls you an it girl, that's like your
That's
nail in your
tea,
coffin.
that's
like,
tea.
like I truly think that too. Where I'm like, in order.
They're always trying to like speak things into existence.
Well, they're also
and
trying
it's
to
like-
manufacture it girls. It's like
That's true.
It's like being called an it girl by again a mainstream media publication is the nail in the
That's how you
coffin
know.
of your
Yeah.
it girl era.
That's to you.
It was like it's like you'll get a press release that's like so and so is the new it girl we've been waiting for, says the Pentagon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're
exactly.
an institution.
Also,
Like,
again, how many of these people are like CIA ops?
Yeah.
yeah, how many are CIA
How many of
ops?
these people are CIA ops?
Probably
yeah.
not falling for Addison Rae not being a CIA op.
Yeah, I work at the CIA. My two jobs are torturing enemies of the state and changing Addison Rae's brand this year. Those are my two jobs.
Torturing Alf and promoting
Yeah.
Addison Rae.
And promote Addison Rae.
Dude, 9 to 1, torture Alf. 1 to 5, Addison Rae. Those are the accounts that I'm managing at the moment.
Yeah, dude, remember
God.
Bella
At the
Porch?
Central Intelligence
That era
Agency.
of TikTok is so crazy because it feels like it was yesterday, but also it feels like it was 1,000 years
Yeah,
ago.
simultaneously.
It was Bella Porch, Bryce Hall,
Charlie.
I mean, people
Charlie.
have said this, but like time hasn't moved the same since 2020. Like it feels like we're perpetually in like a weird loop that we can't escape from.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Again, it just feels like yesterday we were quarantining, watching all the Marvel movies, jumping on to propaganda I'm not falling for. Weddings have to be stressful.
Yes.
I don't fall for that.
I agree.
Everyone acts like the wedding inherently has to be this really stressful, manic, over the top thing. I just like don't believe it has to.
And then they put a bunch of stress onto it. And they act like if you're not stressed about it, you're crazy.
You're
or
doing something wrong.
Jinx.
Jinx.
But I'm like, no.
Who has made you think you need to be
Literally
stressed?
everyone we talk to,
Whenever anyone
they-
asks a question, it's with such a frantic lilt.
Everyone talks about weddings like they're this like, okay, well, what are you gonna do about this? It's like, well, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
You'll
It's-
figure it out.
It's gonna be
we'll
okay.
figure it out.
It's
I
just
feel
a
like
party.
It's only
Yeah.
stressful if like you want things really particular. Like if
Right.
you don't really care about like, oh, we need to have peonies and not tulips.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care about
If
peonies
you don't
versus
care
tulips.
about that,
yeah.
then it's fine.
But I think that's part of it is like you don't have to care about
No.
peonies versus tulips.
No.
I don't know. Some people, it's like in their DNA. They're like,
Yeah.
I need peonies.
I
And I
agree.
don't-
Some people,
I-
we don't
I
have
don't
the peony
fall for
tulip
that
DNA.
propaganda.
Yeah.
I have tulips. Like it'll be a death curse upon the wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
And to those people, I say you have OCD and you need to
Right.
figure that out.
But it's like, yeah, as long as you're fine with things, as long as you're flexible, I think it's fine.
Well,
it's just when things
yeah.
are like, oh, they actually can only have this marinade for the salmon and not this one.
But I think that's what
yeah.
I think that's what I mean too. About like everyone like acts like weddings have to be stressful, including like the people there. Like if that's like a wedding planner
Yeah.
calling, they'd be like, "Okay, are you sitting down for this? Okay, so they only have this specific marinade for the salmon." That's
right,
what they
but then
tell
for
you.
some people,
Yeah.
that is like heart.
Yeah, it is. It's heart wrenching
like,
if they have the wrong marinade
Yeah.
for the salmon. Yeah.
So if you don't care about those sorts of things, then you're
Right.
fine.
Well,
Yeah.
like, or like my mom will be bugging me about like the date, and she'll be like, "Okay, so you're getting married in a year. Is it this date or is it this date? Because I need to tell people." But it's like, why not just be like, "Hey, which date is it?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why is
Right.
all communication about weddings, regardless of who you are, have to be
It's
so
so
stressed
high
out?
stakes and so
Right.
frantic.
And also, to be clear, it's not like we're getting married in a gray box full of piss and shit. Like we're gonna have a beautiful, nice
like,
wedding.
it's gonna be
What if
nice.
I've been going behind your back to change all the like. You're like, okay, we booked this venue. And I'm like,
You're
little
like,
did they
gray
know.
box of
Yeah.
piss and shit. Here
Wait,
we
there was-
come.
I can't remember which YouTuber made a video about this show that was like where the husband plans the wedding. It's a nightmare.
That's
dude.
so funny. That's a
It's
really
like
good
a
show idea.
nightmare. And like, I mean, maybe this episode that they watch, like this specific guy, is just. I mean, I'm sure all the episodes are probably similar, and maybe this guy's literally just so dumb. But it was horrible. Like he had them get married on a plane, and she thought that it was like going to a destination.
And then he's like, no, this is the
It's so
wedding.
funny.
But like the plane just like went up. They had the wedding in the plane and then they came back. And she was like, we were not going anywhere. And then also he picked her dress, which was like $20 or some shit. Like some Fashion Nova ass dress.
You find out this is me from my first marriage, and now I'm like, you don't have to be stressed out.
And then it was like, oh, like the reception venue was like the dingiest, like literally a gray
Yeah.
box of piss and shit.
Yeah.
And it was like tropical theme. It was just like sand in a warehouse.
dude, that's rough.
And it was
That's
so
rough.
I mean, that's terrible.
It was so rough.
But I guess my thing is like the difference between that and like, you know, you're like, you can have a beautiful, nice wedding.
but also his two
without
options.
that.
He was like, okay, it's either gonna be on the airplane or in a prison or in a prison, because I think it's like maybe she was I don't know. They had some sort of like they liked traveling, or she was a flight attendant, or like
Or she was
and then-
locked in a federal
Right.
penitentiary.
No, but he used to be a prison guard.
Wait, so what? Okay, that's actually an extreme version of Robert's joke, which is like, why would your
What?
career have any impact on your wedding theme?
Well, he said it's either a prison or so the plane actually was the better It seems
But it's like,
awful,
oh,
but
you
it
were a
was
flight
actually the
attendant.
better
I was a prison
option.
guard, so we have to get married in either a plane or a
plane or
prison.
prison.
Why is your wedding at work? Why do you need to have a wedding at work?
Why do you have a
really
work
don't
wedding?
know. The whole time for the wedding, it was like Dana's fake choice, illusion of choice thing, where he would give her 2 envelopes to choose from. So then that way, quote, if it's bad, then it's technically her fault because she chose the envelope.
I love
But
giving
it's like-
choices, and they're all dog shit.
Also,
They're
she
all
doesn't
terrible.
know. Also, she doesn't know. She's just randomly picking an envelope. But like the envelope would be like $500 dress, $20 dress.
Right.
Well, what if the envelope is like
And
he
she
shows?
picked a $20 dress envelope.
Wouldn't you believe it?
Did he rig it?
I don't know, but also
I
it's
have no
funny
idea.
because it would go back and forth between her being like, "I hate a themed wedding. It's tacky. I couldn't imagine anything worse than a themed wedding."
What accent is this?
It seems like all of them at once. I kind of like your accent work.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So the theme is beach." Okay, and so we're going on the flight, and then we're getting to the tropical warehouse.
Dude, not the tropical warehouse.
The theme is beach.
The-
We're going to a
tropical
warehouse.
warehouse.
If you're in a warehouse, the theme's warehouse.
The theme is
It's
warehouse.
not
It's a
beach.
warehouse theme.
Warehouse.
Wait.
No, but also it was funny because the first warehouse he went to had so many like safety issues that they ended up having to cancel it. And then guess what? He booked a different warehouse. Like the heavens were telling him, "Hey, don't use this venue," and he was like, "No problem, a different warehouse."
Dude, that's crazy. Have you guys heard of City Beach, which is
No.
essentially the beach warehouse? So, I think there's one in Santa Clara near where we live, but it's basically the whole premise is that it's just this building, this office building, and they put like sand and like
Yeah, that's
obstacle
what it was
courses in
giving.
it.
That's what it was. The wedding
I
was
do
giving.
love those indoor beaches. I think they have them in like China. These massive indoor beaches where there is water and there's like wave machines.
That sounds awful. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's like so. I find
well,
that
it is
so
like
odd.
I know it smells crazy in there.
Yeah, I know it smells crazy.
Because also it's like
Point
it
of
is
the
just a
beach is
closed
that
case.
it's outside.
Right.
Well, it's like you see like there's all sorts of like nuclear bunkers or like these apocalypse bunkers that have a pool in them, and I'm like, in the end times, you're just in a metal box in your pool 100 feet below the surface.
It's
like-
very weird.
it's very strange.
It's
But
very
yeah, you guys don't have to
strange.
stress about the wedding. Like you got the plane booked, the warehouse is all
Right.
good.
Yeah.
He's got the piss and shit.
I got
Yeah.
the piss and shit
She's
for
got
the
look-
warehouse.
She's got her piss gun in case that there's
what if
any
it's like,
shortage of piss.
What if it's like you may now piss gun the bride, and then you piss gun her, like.
Dude, it's also I'll be talking like family members or like because when we were looking for a venue, like I'll be talking like random people and they're like, oh, my cousin got married next to these train tracks in Ottawa, and I'm like, yeah, why would I want to have the same wedding as your weird cousin?
Dude,
I don't know him.
That's also
Tracks
when
in
it's
Ottawa.
like I don't want to have the same wedding as someone else. Like when you
But
tell
also
me
we
like
don't-
It's
okay.
It's almost like as soon
that's
as you tell
disqualifying.
me, yeah, it disqualifies.
Like, I'm like, okay, I can't. I'm not trying to replicate a wedding that already happened. Like
Susan from work
Yeah.
got married in this storm drain. It's like, well, I'd love to
Like,
get married in a storm drain, but
as
not
they
if Susan
say,
did it.
Why
But
would
not
you
if
be a
Susan did
second-rate
it.
version of someone else when you could be a first-rate version of yourself? Why would I have a second-rate version of your wedding when I could have a first-rate version of my own?
A
You know,
first-rate
which is
gray
the
box
reason why we
full of
won't be
piss and
doing
shit.
the plain tropical warehouse because that's
that's
been
already
done.
happened.
It's been done. It sounds nice. It
Well,
sounds
also
lovely.
many of these
Prison, they didn't do
venues-
the prison.
No.
Many of these
So-
venues are beautiful, but that's almost worse because, like, well, maybe I would have gotten married there,
If you hadn't
but now
said
it's
anything.
been done.
Right.
I mean, again, it's like naming your kid a name that's already been in a TV show.
Right.
It's like,
You
well,
like
I
it,
would name the kid
but
this,
it's taken.
but it's taken.
It has its own reputation and connotation.
Yeah.
Like we want our kid to be able to create their own name for themselves without there being, which is why we're naming our kid
Flu
Blam.
blam.
Flu
Flu
blam.
blam.
Blue Blam. Oh, actually,
Blam.
my real
Somebody
can I say
takes
my
that
real can I say
before
my
you-
real
you
kids'
could do
names that I
it.
want?
Yeah, say her
So
real kid's
if
name.
if we give birth to if we
Okay.
give birth to twin boys, I want them to be
So they're
named.
fraternal or
No,
or-
these are just twin boys, so maybe identical, maybe fraternal. But
Okay.
if we give birth to two twin boys, which I have a feeling we will, I can't explain it.
okay.
Salvatore and Sigmund,
That's what she says.
and we
I
call them
don't-
Sal and Siggy.
I don't. Is that a duo of some sort that I
It's-
don't know?
No.
no, it's just
No.
two random names Dana
Oh.
thought of.
Yeah, Schultz. They'd be Salvatore.
Well,
and
they're not going to
Sigmund
be
Schultz.
anything because we're not doing any of this. But
Okay.
But I wanted to
Salvatore
share,
and Sigmund.
like Sigmund Freud.
But, and then Dana goes, but we can call him
And
Siggy
Salvatore.
as if that's an improvement.
Yeah, Siggy is.
I thought Siggy was good.
What if Siggy
No.
like breaks Eve's Legos? And she's like, Siggy!
Siggy's no more.
And I'm like, where'd Siggy go? And she goes, you still got Salvatore.
Salvatore. I don't okay, Salvatore isn't like
You're just like, because it's like the
terrible.
Salvatore brothers.
Yeah.
but I just don't know if I can get behind Sigmund. I don't know if I can get behind Sigmund.
I just don't know anyone of our generation who is named Sigmund.
For
that's
good
the
reason.
bro.
It's you
There
and
is a
Freud.
Yeah, but he
reason.
was such an iconic historical figure.
Sigmund Freud?
It
Yeah.
sounds like you want him to want to F you.
I was worried about that. I don't.
I was worried about people assuming that I wanted my child to F me. Well, if you're
I don't want him to
Well,
have, like.
that's what you get for naming it after Freud. Is that people will think, oh, she's trying to foster a complex.
No, I'm not
here.
trying to foster a complex. I'm trying to have a complex out in the open so we avoid it.
What?
What?
What? He's gonna be like, who am I named after, mommy?
And I'm gonna be like,
And you're gonna be
Freud.
like,
He was a
yeah.
psychologist.
So he was so he was named after Freud?
What do you mean? Where else would Sigmund have come from?
I don't know. Your
So
twisted
it's-
mind from the
yeah,
twisted mind of Dana Donnelly.
All right, forget it. I'm being interrogated too far.
Like you're
I like
lucky
how
that I'm
you
on a board for Salvatore. Like honestly, how you get somebody to agree to Salvatore is that
you pair it with Sigmund.
something so
Great.
like, nuts like Sigmund that they're like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess Salvatore's fine.
I think that's a Dana compromise.
You're like,
this is
this is
peak
a Dana
level.
compromise.
Yeah.
Salvatore and Sigmund is a Dana compromise.
Because you're like, Sigmund's so bad that it's making you come around to Salvatore.
Yeah. And we're painting Salvatore's room pink.
And Salvatore will have a pink room.
Well, anyways, you brought up us watching Marvel during the pandemic, which brings me to a topic we've always wanted to discuss on here, which is Aunt May and Spider-Man and Tony Stark.
Oh my God! The door closing.
Which is okay,
First
so
off, I think we might have discussed
Did
this on
we?
an older
No,
episode.
No, we didn't.
We didn't?
We didn't. We
And
never
if we did,
discussed.
it's fine.
No,
If
we
we
didn't.
did,
I
if
don't
we
think
did,
we
it's
did.
still a heater.
I don't think we
I don't think we
did.
did though. I really
So
don't
there's
think we
that
did.
moment in Captain America: Civil War where Tony Stark goes to recruit Peter Parker for the Avengers, and basically he shows up
allowing
at
us
Aunt May's apartment, and he says, "I got to meet with your nephew Peter."
He's 15, by the way.
Yeah,
15 years old.
Yeah, so Aunt May, this billionaire, says, oh, "Okay, go to his bedroom," and then Tony Stark
Walks in.
walks into Peter's bedroom, closes the door, and locks it.
And locks
and
it.
locks
Eve's
the
like,
door.
if this was real, you'd be like, why? It'd be like if Jeff Bezos came to visit your 15-year-old child
Yeah.
and locked their bedroom door.
And you'd be like, well, and it's supposed to be like, oh, this is top secret superhero stuff.
But really, it's giving us what is Tony Stark going to do to Peter Parker?
Yeah, also
Use your
it's like-
imagination.
Also, it's like that it would be something that a bad man says, like, oh, Peter, we need to lock it because this is super secret superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And also, like, Aunt May is, being bought off by, she's like, well, he's a billionaire.
Right.
He's Iron Man.
Anyways,
Yeah.
but Robert kept being like, it's so weird.
And it is weird.
Actually weird. We're joking because haha, it's funny. In real life, he's a superhero. It's not
In
actually
real
that
life,
crazy.
it is crazy and
Well,
weird.
also, okay,
in real life, it is like
we
if
get
Elon
to
Musk
see-
takes your 16-year-old
Yeah.
son into the room and locks the door.
What doesn't take
I'm-
him into the room? He just goes to, hey, can I talk to your son real quick? And he just locks the door behind him.
Yeah, and it's weird.
But
Why
they
are you
just
locking
have a
it
conversation.
over?
It's not
No,
like
okay. Also, that we see the conversation, he doesn't molest him. It's fine. But we were like about Aunt. We were honestly talking about Aunt May. We were like, she's a
And the
terrible
oversight
guardian.
that
Because if
is
I was
present
Aunt May, I'd be
there.
like, whoa, door open.
Yeah.
But
There's
also,
no
Iron Man
reason
is
the door
known
needs
as
to
a
be
hero. He's a
closed.
hero. It's
Yeah,
like,
but those are the
who's an
those
American
are,
hero? It'd be like if
usually-
Simone Biles came to talk to your
There's a
15-year-old
Biles
daughter.
is a small woman, but also, an adult woman coming in and goes in with the room with the 15-year-old son, locks the door. I'm
Who's
going,
like
no.
a hero? Who's a hero? If Serena Williams came to visit your 15-year-old son
I would
and
think it
she
was
locks
really
the door.
weird if she locked the
Female
door.
athletes.
Because I think
Okay.
of who's a hero.
Yeah.
Because I
Okay,
think
but, like-
he's not just a billionaire, he's specifically a hero.
Yeah.
He's allowed to meet with Peter.
No, but like those are the
There's no
people-
reason to assume he's going to
people
molest
who,
Peter Parker.
who get into positions of power like that where they have everybody like them and then they use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
And that may be why they even went for that position
in
of
the
power
first place.
in the first place.
That's so true. People who seek out power are
But
often
we
doing it
know-
so they can molest
But we
people.
know that's not why
true.
Tony Stark sought
doesn't know
power.
that. Aunt May doesn't know that.
And also, better safe than sorry.
She's
Your-
a bad
I do think
guardian.
your due diligence as a guardian is to
She's
just
a bad
assume
guardian. It
to
doesn't
do
matter who
everything
that
you
man
can
is.
to keep
I'm
the
just
kid
like,
under
I'm
your
flashing back to
supervision
Iron Man.
safe.
I'm flashing back to Iron Man 1 when he's in the cave and he's like hammering and there's a other guy in the cave with him and he's like, "You're going to escape from here." And he's like, "Yeah." And then I can finally be able to molest kids. We're like, what? Like, huh? What?
All I'm saying is Aunt May is negligent.
Well, Aunt May
And
is probably negligent because I mean he's up to all sorts of stuff.
That's tea.
That's true. He's being
That's
Spider-Man.
tea. But like, But she's there. She sees him go in the room.
What if when the two
sees him
superhero
lock the
teams,
door and doesn't do
the
anything?
two superhero teams square up later in the big fight, and then it's Team Iron Man against Team Captain America, and Captain America's like, the Sokovia Accords are bad, Tony, and also you shouldn't be molesting that boy, and everyone else on Team Iron Man is like, wait, what? Whoa, did you know he was doing that? I thought we were just here for the Sokovia Accords. What?
But yeah, no, we know that Iron Man is not a molester.
But we're saying, would you be
But
creeped
we're
out if
saying-
Iron Man showed up to
if
talk to your
Iron
son
Man
and
showed up to
locked
talk to
the
your
door?
son and locked the door,
And I'm saying
what
Aunt
would you
May
do?
should be looked into.
Well, she gets killed
Rest in peace,
by
Aunt
the
May.
Green Goblin.
And actually, I knew Aunt May, and she loved me. She loved the Young Old podcast.
Trying to make Aunt May proud with this
We're just trying to
pod.
make Aunt May proud with this pod.
By saying she's negligent for allowing Tony Stark into a bedroom with her
Yeah, I'm just saying
teenage son.
she's not a very good guardian.
Well, she isn't a very good guardian. Peter gets to all
You're
sorts of
right.
trouble without
So,
her
and
even
this is just
knowing.
more evidence that she's bad. She's always letting Peter in
In dangerous situations, yeah.
Dude, I hope the Green
Whether-
Goblin kills her ass.
Dude,
Speaking of Guardians, did you know that in the live action Lilo and Stitch, spoiler alert,
Oh, this is
apparently they
crazy.
changed the ending so that, is it Nani,
Yeah.
his sister, loses custody of Lilo at the end of the movie? And it's
Oh.
framed as like a good thing because now Nani is able to go to college without having to take care of Lilo.
okay.
And I'm like,
Isn't that
who
weird?
made this?
Who does Lilo live with?
Their
Their
neighbor.
neighbors.
She just goes to live with their neighbor. So it's like,
Oh.
Nani still sees Lilo,
Yeah.
but she goes to college. I'm like, so you, it's funny because I'm like, I can tell everyone involved thought this was like a better
progressive
feel-good
ending.
ending.
Yeah.
She gets to go to college. I'm like, she loses custody
Yeah.
of Lilo? Like, what?
They probably all have kids that they lost custody of who were being raised by like their oldest child, and they're like,
yeah.
I wish that they would lose custody of them so they could come back to me.
Dude, I literally think that's so insidious. Like, also, again, like, that's part of what is so feel good about, like, Lilo and Stitch is, like, in the end, like, family wins and, like,
Is
whatever.
it like Ohana means family?
Ohana means family. But you're
Actually-
saying Ohana means college.
Yeah. Ohana means
Yeah.
going to
Also,
the dorm.
Yeah.
Did you audition for that or just me?
I don't think you auditioned. You didn't audition for the movie. You auditioned for, like, a Disney Plus
No,
show.
no, it was the movie
Oh, you
because
did
the
audition
movie
for
was
the
originally
movie.
going to be straight to Disney Plus, and they changed it to
Oh,
theatrical.
I was gonna say that one of the scenes we did was she's stressing out because the social worker's coming.
Wait, that's
over.
crazy. Okay, you actually also, my mom also auditioned for this movie.
Oh,
you
for
guys,
the- for
we
the-
had,
yeah.
for the mom. We
For
had
the mom.
two potential people in our family who
Auditions.
could have been in the Lilo and Stitch. For some reason, I didn't think it was the same one because that one was straight to Disney Plus.
But I remember one. Of
But
the
I didn't
scenes,
realize that
she's
they
like-
just made
she's
that
stressing
theatrical.
out about the social worker.
Yeah.
but it's like that scene would lead you to believe, oh, everything ends up being okay. Like she's stressed about the social worker, but she makes it through. But in reality, it's like she's stressed about the social worker, and the social worker decides she's
Yeah.
unfit
Yeah.
You're an unfit mother.
to be with
But my
Lilo.
mom auditioned for the social worker.
That's so.
That's really funny.
Isn't that funny?
That is funny. I did an audition for that one. By the way, every time there's like a little cut and you think maybe we've cut out some young old, that's when we spill the industry's dirty secret.
That is,
That's when we
yeah.
talk our truth and we spill it all.
Dude, Young Old Censored. I mean, it's gonna make a great when we have enough
When we're at a
listeners for a
million.
Patreon.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I like how the cuts are going to be like, and I knew Hollywood was run by the devil when I opened that door at that party and saw. Anyway, back to propaganda I'm not falling for. And people are like, what did he see?
What did he say? What did he say? And you'll never know.
Dude, I've never really, I was about to say I've never been to Hollywood parties. The thing is, though, it's like every time you go to any sort of industry event that you would think looks like a party when they post like Getty images online, it's like a lame work conference.
Yeah.
Every premiere, every like red carpet, it's like a work. The vibe is like office function.
But it's interesting because Jennifer Aniston claims that that only started happening when phones became a thing.
popular.
Like basically the insinuation is Hollywood was really fun and crazy, and like all of those like work functions were crazy parties until the era of social
Well,
media.
Gwyneth Paltrow says that too. It's like you would go to
Yeah.
like Oscar after parties and it would be like an
Maybe I'm
actual like
thinking
crazy
Gwyneth
party.
Paltrow.
I think they've both said it.
But
Those
it
two
does seem
ladies,
like
I get the vibe,
90s
had a blast at a lot of these parties.
pre-smartphone Hollywood parties maybe were fun, but like post-smartphone Hollywood parties, not really the vibe in our experience.
Well, it's an
but I was
office
also
function.
telling Robert, like, as I've become more of like, you know, someone who works in this town, I've got invited to less and less functions. But when I was like just a random 22-year-old, I would get invited to so many like crazy Hollywood parties when I was someone with no like clout or like, industry.
Dare I say power or agency?
You'd think that you'd get invited to more stuff as you rise in the ranks, but in fact, actually, these parties are only, if you're a woman, I would say, they're only for you if you actually are like a powerless, helpless weirdo.
Yeah, and in my early 20s, like I wasn't invited to any of these parties, but then as I've kind of gotten more successful and gained more power, I'm still not invited to any parties. And it makes me think people don't want me at their parties. I get invited to Dana's pity parties, don't I know those? But
But we never RSVP. And then
But
they
you
get
never
canceled.
RSVP.
But they get
Anyway.
canceled anyway, so.
But it just is interesting. And again, maybe this is the solipsism of like, oh, these are losers who don't go to parties, so they don't know how fucking sick the sick parties are. Maybe there's really sick parties
dude,
happening.
Gwyneth
and we're
Paltrow,
not
I'd love
at
to go to a
them.
Gwyneth Paltrow party.
Me too. Now.
A goop event.
I would love to go to
But
a
you know
goop
they're
event.
boring. That's also it. You kind of know they're
But
boring.
I think they'd be boring in a way I would approve of. We discuss how bad vaccines are for you. We drink bone broth.
Okay, we got to cut that.
Why?
Because we're not anti-vax.
I'm
No,
not
but-
anti-vax.
but
I'm
we can
making
still
a
let
joke
her-
about the kind of party.
Oh,
that
okay, yeah. Is Gwyneth Paltrow anti-vax?
That's the
Probably.
word on the street.
I can't
she
imagine
does seem
she
like
is
she'd be
pro-vax.
like holistic, anti-Western medicine vibes.
Well, that was like Aaron Rodgers. Are you familiar with quarterback Aaron Rodgers?
Sounds. I've heard his name.
He
Pretty
dated
famous.
Shailene Woodley.
He did date Shailene Woodley, and that's the 40th thing he's famous for. But
That's all I know him from.
anti-vax?
yeah, I don't know.
She's holistic.
I wouldn't be
She
surprised.
believes in sunning her
They're
vagina.
holistic, yeah.
Oh,
Which I support.
Okay, I knew you would. Support
You would not
that.
support it.
Sunning
If
your
you were-
vagina?
Who in your life suns their vagina, and you're like, hell yeah.
Shailene Woodley.
Shailene Woodley.
Shailene, that's right. But anyhow,
Do you know there's people who put funnels in their ass so that
I'm sitting right here. Yeah. Do you know that there's
Robert.
people who kind of
Robert
take
has a funnel
that
in his
seriously?
ass
I
right
got a funnel in my
now.
ass right now, and I can't get it out, and I've got to go back to the store later.
Is that real? Does people
yeah,
put
but I'm
funnels
just
in
like
their
that can't
bumps?
be that.
What do
it
they
can't
do
be
with-
that serious? You can't need some. They're that bad.
Oh, they
bro.
sun the interior of their asshole?
Yeah, that's what the funnel's for. bro.
Propaganda I'm not falling for is sticking a funnel in your ass so you can sun the inside of your butt. I'm not falling for all that propaganda.
That's
Yeah.
what it's for.
That's crazy. What were you saying?
Huh?
Or what were you saying?
Well, sorry, that was a crazy twist. No, what I was going to say is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
This was during the COVID era of the NFL where they were playing, but someone asked him if he had been vaccinated, and he said, "Yeah, I've been immunized." And then he moved on, and it came out that he had not been vaccinated, and he just was taking some like weird holistic like.
Immunization.
Yeah, and people were like, clearly you wanted to give the impression you were
That you were,
vaxxed,
but
he
not
went,
actually.
yeah,
I've been immunized.
I've been
in
immunized.
his own way.
In his own way.
I kind of love
Immunizes-
that.
And
That's
by
such
that
a-
he means he stuck a funnel
Up his ass.
Okay, but propaganda I'm not falling for. Also, we talk about this. Vaginal washes.
Oh my god, literally people who are okay, so we decided people who use like a lot of, brandy, trendy skincare and feminine washes. They have faces and badges
of Teflon. You have a Teflon badge, you have a Teflon face, and good for you.
And great for you.
Great
I'm
for you.
So happy
but
for
I
you.
genuinely believe that influencers who are paid to like promote all of this skincare that I know breaks me out,
Right.
and all these vaginal washes that I know would give me a
Yeah,
horrible
yeast.
infection, you are going to HE double hockey stacks. Like
You are.
And I'm like, and again,
Because most
if you're
people-
genuinely using these products, then you truly, I'm like, I believe you are ex machina. You're
Yeah.
a robot because that's you.
And it's
what?
It's sad though, because it's like some people like they truly do because they have a face and badge of steel.
Yeah.
And they use these like products on their face and badge and like everything's going fine. They think things are great.
They think that the reason why their face and
Right,
badge
it's
are
good
good is because of these products. Meanwhile,
and so then they go around recommending it to people. Being
It
like,
is in
I
spite
swear by
of.
this. But it's like if you like recommending that to people whose face and badge is not made of steel, like you are ruining their life.
Yeah.
I learned so much on this podcast.
I
learned so much.
I'm someone with
Don't
real
recommend
human
that.
skin and vag, and that would destroy
that would
my
ruin
life.
my life.
That
It
would ruin my life. And also, okay, I'm seeing the return of skincare, like promoting these men's skincare routines, which I think 2016 was when it last peaked. Was like the
Well, there was that big movement of no makeup.
No
We're going no
makeup.
makeup.
We're
But then
going no
people
makeup.
went, all right, no makeup. But then they started going insane on the skincare. It's like, that's just like makeup beforehand. That's just, you know what I mean? Like you're doing preemptive makeup.
But ultimately, what Eve and I both realized on our quote unquote skincare journeys was that shit makes your skin so much worse.
Right. It only
Worse than you
works
could
if
possibly
you-
imagine. Have skin of Teflon.
Right, if you're made of titanium.
Yes.
And then, but then it's like, then you gaslight yourself into thinking that that's why.
This
It's like
sounds
you had,
like-
you had good skin in the first place. You used a sheet mask. You're made of titanium, so you didn't break out. And then you go, oh, I have great skin. It's like, but you already had good skin.
Sheet masks ruined my life.
We're kind of like writing like a modern day feminist folk song.
Right.
We're
It's
like,
like
she had
you're-
Teflon skin and a vag of steel.
It's like your vag was steel. You used the wash. It was fine. And you're like, oh, that's why my vag is so great. It's because of the wash. And it's like, no, you have a vag of steel.
You have steel vag.
Young oldenators with Teflon skin and a vag of steel. Sound off.
But it's like, okay, fine, do whatever you want, but like, don't recommend that shit to people, okay?
Don't recommend
You're
that shit
gonna
to
ruin
people.
lives.
You're ruining lives.
You're gonna ruin lives.
Here's the thing. It's almost
Summer's Eve, super goop.
Yeah, those.
I see
like,
you, and I'm not falling for it.
I'm
That's
not falling
propaganda.
for
I'm not
it.
falling.
I'm not falling for
I'm not
it.
falling for it. Robert, do you have any last propaganda you're not falling for?
No, it's just I feel bad because I've already fallen for so much vag of steel propaganda.
Robert has a dick of steel.
Jesus Christ. I've got a funnel of sun, and a dick of steel.
Robert is one of those people though. Like, actually, his skin is not made of Teflon because when he used hair mask on it, he did break out.
But to
I
be
did
fair,
break
like
out.
that is like the most irritating thing you could possibly use.
A conditioner?
Like that.
Yeah.
No, it smelled like formaldehyde.
Yeah.
But
Like,
to
it
me,
was,
and look, there was like a burning sensation when I put it. I
And you
got
were
this
like, this needs to
conditioner
work,
that was a
it's
hair
working.
mask, and I read mask, and I thought, oh, you're supposed to mask your face with it, and it'll
No,
moisturize
you
you.
mask your hair
And there
with
was a
it.
burning sensation, but I kind of interpreted that of like, oh, it's like cleansing. It's like
Oh
a
my
chemical
God.
peel.
Oh my God.
And I did get a couple big pimples.
I do think chemical
the young
peels are
oldenators
also fake
are
news.
familiar with hair masks.
This
But if
was
you're
an
a new
old
young oldenator,
Chubb's
then
appearance.
if you're a young
Basically-
newenator,
If you're a new a young
A young
newenator.
a young newenator.
Chubbs
A new young
famously
alternator.
used a hair mask on his face, broke out, Data threw it away, and then Chubbs
dug it
through
out of the
garbage
trash.
to get it back.
Because as someone who would never moisturize their skin, I got really kind
Yeah,
of.
it's like
I liked the feeling of
It's
having like a
yeah,
glistening
use
moist
moisturizer.
skin.
Use moisturizer for your face.
propaganda. I'm not falling for washing my face. I don't wash my face.
Okay.
What?
I don't know about all that.
I don't wash
mean-
my face. My skin's never been better. My skin's never been clearer than when I stopped
All right.
washing my face.
You're giving
But I feel
Shailene
like-
Woodley right now.
I feel like maybe
Value neutral.
your face is just like good, right? You're doing the thing where you have good skin and then you don't do
Well, so-
something and then you're like, this is why.
Okay, you're like, I don't wash my face,
sure
but it's
your
like
face would be
you
good if
you
you
do a
wash
lot
it
of
too.
cardio, you don't drink
That's
alcohol,
what I'm saying.
and
I'm
you
sure your
shower
skin is
every
just
day.
Good. I'm sure your skin is just good.
You wash your face in the shower.
You're being one of them right now.
You're being one of them.
All right, all right,
And then
all
you're
right,
recommending
all
to
right.
the people without the Teflon.
All right, all
Yeah.
right.
They shouldn't wash their
What's
face.
next? You're gonna stick a funnel up my ass
But I
and
know
kick
my
me out
skin
in the
is not
sun?
Teflon because when I started using these like glow recipe drops, I started breaking out.
But that
immediately.
was when you said that.
No, this was recently.
Oh.
Well, I know my skin is not Teflon because when I was taken in the back room at that Hollywood party, I. So anyway.
Good night,
young old. You don't need to moisturize
or wash your face. Don't put
Biased
anything
propaganda.
near your vagina.
Or funnel